Hello, hello. Right, second time lucky. I did try and post this bit earlier, but it wasn't working on the live Wi-Fi connection. So hopefully we're good to go this time. So hello, and welcome to today's brand breakthroughs. I've had some brilliant questions that have been sent in over the last week, and I've picked the three that I think will most help and serve you to really move forward and do the things that you need to do to create a really highly engaging, consistent and memorable brand. So the first thing that I want to touch on is from Mary Frances. Thank you, Mary Frances, for your question. Now, Mary Frances has gone through the process of naming the business, and hi, Sheena, and really, clarifying the brand and what it actually is, because if you, like Mary Frances, have lots of ideas, and let's face it, if you're a creative entrepreneur, then hi Michael, then you're constantly going to be coming up with new ideas and new things to do all of the time. I mean, gosh, yesterday we took a drive, we hired a car, put the roof down, took a drive from from San Diego on the way to LA, and we stopped on the San Clemente coast last night for just overnight, and just being in front of the sea and being in the sun and not working, it opens you up to lots and lots of ideas. So that isn't something I was going to talk about today, but first of all, if you're not taking enough time out, hi Costa, if you're not taking enough time out to enable your brain to creatively manifest the things that you want, it's one thing to think it, but it's not going to happen for you if you don't take action on it. So, you need to have a space where you're thinking creatively, but that also you can act creatively as well. And so you've got a congruent system as such between the idea and actually making it happen. And that way you can manifest anything. It's so good to see you all. So as you can see, I've got a lovely painting behind me. The place we stayed at last night is really, really cool. The sun is shining. It's absolutely beaming outside. So we're going to go for a lovely drive along the coast again today. So the first thing I want to focus on is how to write fabulous, effective, and brand consistent taglines. Hang on, Sheena did that just today at Glen Eagles to be creative. Good for you. Honestly, I can't recommend it highly enough, just taking that time out of the business, because, when you're just full on working all the time, sometimes the state that you're in, you're in doing mode, not necessarily the most creative state that you could be in. And what that does is it sometimes can lead you to making decisions in a different way that you would have made it if you were in a state of calm and creativity. Wow hair. Yeah, my hair got up and said wow this morning. Thank you, Michael. That is a result of being in a soft top while Greg is driving. And then I look like I have a beehive on my head. I said to him yesterday as we were driving, I said, I need one of those kind of 1950s headscarf things that stop your hair going like that. We had fun anyway. Thank you. I want to concentrate on how to really create that fabulous, effective and engaging and memorable tagline. So this has come from Mary Frances. Mary Frances, thank you for your question. Now, if you, like Mary Frances, have been creating loads of things and just really focusing on just one thing, you, as an entrepreneur, you'll have ideas, you'll be creating things all the time. What you need to do is just make sure that when you're creating so many things and you're serving and you're creating things for customer demand, which is always good, that it is still aligned to the business and the business that you're growing. And the best way to really do that is to come up with a strap line or a tag line. It's also known as a payoff line. I've heard it being called before. So depending on where you are in the world, it will have a different name to what it is that you're doing. Now, the reason for creating this, if you think really, the whole point of a strapline or a tagline or a payoff line is that what you're doing is you're fitting a load of complex emotions that you provide your customers into a few words. It's really shortening it into a summary of exactly what it is that you deliver. So I've got three things that I want to share with you that I call it the 3 M's of really mastering your strapline. So the first thing is to master it. What you really need to think about is, what promise is it that you're making to your customers? Now, of course, I'm talking about like the mothership brand here, the actual business brand. I'm not talking about the products or the services that you have underneath specifically, okay? Because there will be a consistent outcome that you deliver for your customers across every single product or service that you create. There'll be a consistent outcome. So the best thing you can do really is sit down and think, like, what is it I am really the master of? What promise is it that I am the master of? When I think about what I deliver and what I do and how I serve, if you were to, just start getting it out of your head and start writing it down, you probably find, and especially if you've already delivered this, go to some of your customers and ask them, what experience did they connect you to? What are some of the words that they consistently think of when they think about you? If you're a brand new business and you haven't done anything like this before, don't worry, because you could ask for character references in terms of, what consistent word would you say that people would associate to you? Hi, Matt. And the reason for doing that really is what you want is to create something that gives the overall emotion and feeling about what it is that you're providing. It's almost like a mini mission statement. So if you've got a mission statement for your overall business, shorten it down. So it's, how could you sum up that mission in 5 or 6 words? You don't want it to be more than 7 words. People need memorable stuff. And that actually leads me on to point number 2. So once you've really mastered that message, the second thing you want to do is make sure that, it's really concise, so that your customers get the feeling of exactly what they're left with every single time. It's like McDonald's or Nike or Gillette or BMW or Tesco or Coca-Cola. All of them have a major mission, and they sum it up in a few words. So you've got McDonald's, I'm loving it. They built a whole campaign. They created music to it. I'm loving it. They got somebody that... so they didn't just hit the visual sense. They hit the auditory sense as well with the music and then the branding. And, you go to any McDonald's in the world and it's consistent. You get a consistent experience. Whether that's a good experience or a bad experience, it's consistent. Hi, Alan. Thank you. Like Nike, just do it. Everybody knows that strapline. But here's the thing. The reason why they have to have a strapline is because they're not descriptive in what it is that they do. Their brand doesn't tell you exactly what they do. How to build a brand, champion of first-time success. Thank you, Michael. I'm really glad you got that, because that is so meaningful to me. That's the consistent thing that we do for our customers. Whether you're creating a name, whether you're creating the brand design, whether you're coming up with your message, whether you're attending our events, the whole mission behind what we do is to make you a champion of first-time success. We never want any business owner or entrepreneur to have to go through the same lesson twice, to spend money that you don't need to spend, to spend energy and time that you don't need to spend. So what is it that you consistently leave your customers with? When they walk out of the door, having been with you, or they've finished using your product, what consistent feeling, emotion, outcome is it that they get? Regardless of what product or service you deliver, they get that same thing each time. Once you've mastered that and you've mastered the brand promise that you've got, you can then start to really focus on, how does that become memorable? And the way to make it memorable is to make it shorter. Is it immediately recognizable? Is it something that someone could repeat even when you're not there? Because that's the ultimate outcome, isn't it? The ultimate outcome is that someone else is going to go and share your message or talk about you to somebody else in a consistent way, so that whether it's the cleaner that's giving it, or the CEO that's talking about it, or a friend of the cleaner or a friend of the CEO, that they're actually going to deliver that message consistently. And that's why it's best to keep it short. Keep it really short as you can. And the final thing is to make it magnetic. Okay, so you've mastered it, you've made it memorable, and now you need to make it magnetic so that it really sticks. So think about, is it simple to understand? Does it really get across what the outcome is in a memorable way? So if somebody was having, so Michael, say you're having a conversation to someone and they say, oh, you know what, I've got customers, but they're not necessarily the customers that I really, really want to to do business with, that I'm getting customers coming through, but they're negotiating with me on price all the time. It's now getting into price wars. That's one conversation where I would want you to say, hey, you need to speak to Sammy Blindell, the brand brains. She is a champion of first-time success. You don't need to get this wrong again. If you really want to target your ideal customer, be a champion of first-time success and go learn from her, because you won't make those mistakes again. You'll only ever attract customers that you really, really want, who value your time, who pay what you're worth, and make your life much easier. Let's have a look. So, Nick, thank you for looking at the camera and not the screen. Yeah. So, I just want to make sure that you've got exactly what it is that you need. All right. You need to know exactly what it is that you're doing going forward, because if you don't, it comes across. It really comes across, and you want someone else to be able to go out there and really make sure that you understand make sure they understand exactly what you do, so they can go and repeat it again. That's so important. So the 3 M's really of really coming up with the strap line and the tag line, or the payoff line, that really helps you to move your business forward. But of course, every single product and service you create will then have its own little mini mission, its own mini vision for what it is that you're creating. And that's also important, that when you create them, that that you're going to create them consistently. If you've already got that overall mission and that overall strap line, you'll never make the mistake. Or, if you've mastered that message, you'll never make that mistake of creating a load of different products and services that mean totally different things to your ideal customers, that give a totally different message. You want to make sure that everything is consistent, because when what you do looks inconsistent, it makes everything that you deliver look inconsistent. It makes people think that what you're going to deliver to them is inconsistent as well. So you want to make sure that every time someone talks about you, where they share your message, every time you post on social media, every time you create a video, whether it's live like this, whether you're creating different messages, you want to make sure that your landing pages, your sales videos, that your copy, brochures that you're sending out, the business card, everything needs to be completely aligned, and it needs to be aligned to that overall mission, so that then everything that you create underneath that, you could, we've got 38 different products underneath our brand, but all of them will deliver on the promise that we made at the beginning of the overall brand, to be a champion of first-time success. So I really think that, if you need any help and you want to, if you're in the Brand Accelerator group, that's where we do live stuff. So if you want to, so Michael, I know that you're a brand accelerator, so come up maybe with some taglines and straplines, and Mary Frances, come up with some and post them into the Brand Accelerator group, because you'll get live feedback from everyone all over the world. So they'll say, hey, did you know that means this in Swedish or Germany? Because we've got people in there from all over the world. Okay, so Michael, spinning wheels and overwhelmed went off track. Is there one page with all the 38 products that you have? Yes, there is, but it's not live to the public. So we have, because everybody's at different stages, and I don't sell anything to anybody that they don't need. And I have found in the past, when I've been working with other people, that when they've listed absolutely everything down there, then sometimes people go and buy something. It's not necessarily right for them. So I like to have a conversation with people just to plug them into the right product that's right for them. But yes, we do. We'd have it all there. Okay, so making sure that I don't forget anything. So the second thing, failure, how to use negative experiences to fuel your growth. Okay, this came from somebody who I know very well, who I met in the States last year. I'm not going to mention by name, just in case he didn't want this to be a public thing. But I know that this guy has gone through a hell of a troubled time. And if you, like him, have ever struggled in your business where everything seemed to fall apart and you just didn't know what to do next, then I'm sure you're not alone. I've been there. Every entrepreneur I know has been there. Now, this in particular comes from somebody who I know that had joint ventured with somebody else, had got funding and lots of a huge amount of money invested into this product, this project that was going ahead. And then 2 of the major funders pulled out at last minute, which meant that the whole business and the plan and everything that he'd been working on for 2 years pretty much had folded. So that's a pretty shite thing to happen. And do you know what? I mean, it doesn't really matter whether it's a small thing that's happened that's really affected you, or a massive thing that's affected you it's all relative, isn't it? Because it makes you feel the way that you feel, and your stomach's churning, you feel sick, and I know that this guy, there's kids involved in terms of, the kids are going to get taken away if he can't provide the income to be able to, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. All I can do is share from my own experience, and having seen many people go through this exact same thing all over the world, and I can tell you that really, like, what is the universe trying to tell you? What is, sit back and think, what am I being shown here? Because really shit things happen when you're not on the right path. And it feels stressful. It makes you feel sick. You could lose everything as a result of that thing. But that's a warning sign. That's a warning sign that you're not on the right path. And when, sometimes you've got to sometimes the whole wall has got to be knocked down for you to be able to start rebuilding the right wall. And one wrong meeting can lead to an entirely wrong relationship. I would just look at that whole business transaction and think, okay, when did I first feel that was wrong? Your gut instinct. My coach is always talking to me about my gut instincts. He says, if it sounds like a duck and it looks like a duck, it is a duck. So stop trying to make it something that is not. And often, I've found that. And, yeah, Michael, you've been there. And I know so many people right now, I don't know what's happening, but cosmically or whatever it is that you believe in, the world's getting a really good shake-up. The economy's getting a really good shake-up. There's new things that are happening. And it's not about what is happening and what's happening to you. It's what can you make of that situation. If you really sit back and look at it, what is it that put you on that wrong path in the first place? Was there something that you wanted to achieve, and you maybe partnered up with somebody in the hope that it would be right? But if you look back on that entire relationship, you probably had a gut feeling about it all along. You need to know exactly what that is, because then if it happens again, you'll be able to recognize it. So don't ignore the problem. Don't ignore the fact that you had that gut feeling. Like, when was it that you first realized that there could be a problem? And what did you do about it? How did you react? Or didn't you react? Did you choose not to? Nick, getting out of the wrong path with people of the wrong values allows the queue of good things the universe has in store for you to magically appear. I'm shedding joint partnerships right now with people of the wrong values, but who have the right audiences, who I will find on my own or in more joyous ways. Yeah, Nick, I mean, that's just so right. Been there too. And it's just so important. It's just so important that as soon as you get that gut instinct that something is wrong, that's because there is something wrong. So instead of, yeah, Michael, that is so true. This is one of those things where it's just because you can doesn't mean you should. There are absolutely times where if you can, you must, right? But usually if there's an opportunity to cut corners, an example of that is you partner up with the wrong person. They've got a great audience, they've got the ideal target market, but they're not the right person for you to join with. So instead of going against that gut instinct and joining forces with them, why don't you think about how else would you be able to get in front of that network? What else could you do to be able to position yourself to that network via another way, via another channel? Are you part of the group? Do you have to joint venture with them? There's so many different ways around what it is that you want to do. If you focus on the outcome and think, okay, what are the top 5 ways I could get in front of that audience really quickly, as including that partnership or including that one outcome that the gut instinct is wrong for, and understand what your exit strategy is should it go wrong. Because the reason that it hurts most of the time is because you haven't planned for that. You got into it and everything was rose-tinted glasses and you didn't plan for it. There are some partnerships that I have going at the moment where you've just got to think, look, just trust not to trust them. If you don't trust them, at least you listen to your gut instinct. At least you, hang on, I'm just resting you on something here. So yeah, at least you trust your gut instincts. At least you went in with your eyes wide open, and you were able to say, okay, so here are the things that I don't trust about them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. If there's more than that, then I'd seriously consider why you're working with them in the first place. But go into it eyes wide open. Okay, so I'm expecting them to do this. I'm expecting them to do that. And that way, if you trust not to trust them, then it doesn't hurt. The reason why it gets us most of the time is because you put a lot of trust in people, you're a nice person, and then you get effed over, and that's because you didn't see it coming. So have your eyes wide open and make sure that you look after yourself, protect yourself by knowing that you can't trust them, but at least know the ways you can't trust them and understand the ways that the benefits of what you can get from it. And just go in with your eyes wide open. And by the way, if you're getting involved in a client relationship or in a business relationship for whatever reason, based on you being the fixer, that's not the right. You just know. You know if that's what you're going in there to do. And ultimately, you're there to help your customers create the outcome that they want. You're not there to fix them. And especially from a coaching point of view, that's a very dangerous position to get into if you're a coach, to go in there with that kind of I'm going to fix you mentality. Because ultimately, as a coach, you're there to help them see the things that are already there within them and bring them out. You're not there to tell them what to do. You're there to help them get out of themselves those things that are already there, but maybe they don't have the confidence or they have beliefs that are holding them back, that stop them from really wanting to do. I mean, look at Miles was the public speaker in our organisation. He chose to do that as his role within the company. As soon as Miles went and that role fell to me to be the public speaker, I just had a complete meltdown. I was like, there is no way I'm getting up to do that. No way. I won't get up and sell to people. I won't, like my ethical standards were just like, I'm not going to do that. I hate public speaking. I don't want to do it. And my coach helped me to realise that actually, as long as I'm serving rather than not selling, then actually you are selling, but you're just not doing it from the same place that these, hard kind of, and here's the next 3 bonuses and run to the back of the room, right? That was because that's what I'd seen in the environment as that's what selling was. That wasn't for me. So my coach helped me to realise that there was a way that I could serve in a bigger way, that I could enjoy public speaking. And just in the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I love public speaking now. It's just so totally different to the thing that I thought that it was. So, sometimes you just need that coach to help you to realise what is already there. So you're not there to fix anyone. You're there to help unveil the magnificence that's been there all along, and help them to see that. And that's what you do. So, don't get caught up on this whole fixing thing, because that's a really dangerous position to get in. And by the way, when you become known as a fixer, that doesn't pay, because it will massively limit the amount of people that you can serve, because people will be coming to you and you'll always be giving your time one-to-one, which is great if you're really charging what you're worth. But until you've got that brand out there and people have really started to see the outcome, going back to the tagline and the strapline, the vision, the mission, the mastering your message, until you've done that, it's not going to be anywhere near as powerful for you. Yes, and it is exhausting. So finally, what we covered, never get married on a first date. Love this one. Oh my goodness. So we just spent 3 days. Hi, Graham. We just spent 7 days in San Diego, 3.5 of those days at a conference called the Ultimate Millionaire Summit, which we came to. I spent a month out in California last year. And it's absolutely brilliant event, high level people there. But I tell you what, I was quite shocked at the amount of people that were trying to get married on a first date. They hadn't mastered their message. They were just walking up to me and just selling the whole time. Hi, Lydia. just trying to sell at me. And I was like, whoa, hang on a minute. You don't know who I am, what my problem is, what it is that I need, what the outcome is. You don't know, Oh, wow, the amount of people that haven't mastered that message. I mean, that's why I run Master Your Message as an event. And as soon as they come and do that to me, I'm like rabbit in the headlights. Whoa, you just switched me right off. I don't have time for this. You just got to treat people as you would expect to be treated. I don't know. How do you feel when people come up and do that to you? It's not nice, is it? It feels really invasive. You don't feel listened to or valued or respected. And also what I found actually is maybe it's because I'm a kinesthetic person and I make a lot of my decisions based on feelings as opposed to like what I'm hearing or what I'm seeing. But I've also noticed there are a lot of these like calendar appointment-based things these days where, they say, hey, here's my calendar, go and book yourself an appointment. And I think, wow, whatever happened to there being a personality to the business? Whatever happened to serving? And look, I know that there's systemization, right? I'm a real fan of systemization. You know that I'm a fan of systemizing your business and systemizing the processes. Yeah, you're right. Just like you're a dollar sign or a sounding board without permission. That's so true, Lydia. So true. But yeah, getting back to this calendar thing, I think there's a point at which you can take it too far, the whole systemization. I remember Tracy, if you're listening, hello. In fact, Tracy, I think, is having an operation this week. So sending lots of love to you, Tracy, if you can hear us from wherever you are. Yeah, Tracy said to me, I'm really worried about systemization because I think it loses touch with the customer. Yes, I think it can do if you don't do it the right way. And again, that's what we train on our Brand Accelerator program, is to become a champion of first-time success, is to systemize the things that should be systemized so that you can serve in a much bigger way, but that you introduce those personal heartbeats into what you're doing. And I think that, service part of customer service is being replaced with tech. Michael, you are, spot on. And I think there's a need for it in a lot of places. For example, all the emails that you're sending out, the text that you're sending, things like that, because what happens is by getting those things, I always do this, I imagine that they're all up there somewhere. They're in the cloud. They've been programmed in Infusionsoft or Aweber or whatever is taking care of that sequence. And as you know, for the Brand Accelerator program, there's only 37 different activities that I do over the 5 stages, but there's over 700 emails programmed into that sequence, because depending on what your answer is or how long it takes you to respond to something, or whether you watch something or not, or like many different things that I've mapped out really with Adrian Savage, you're just slipping down, is the real thing behind, the what if they don't strategy. So how can I create a heartbeat for you that makes it personal, that makes you feel like I'm there, because I am, and that also gives you exactly what it is that you need. So, for example, if you go and download an activity on the Brand Accelerator program, but you don't send it to me within 24 hours, it will email me and I'll get a list of all the people that downloaded something that didn't take action in 24 hours. Now, I built the Brand Accelerator program so that you put an hour a day for 12 weeks. So you get used to investing an hour a day on your business rather than in your business. Because by the time you get through the end of the Brand Accelerator process, I've trained you to constantly work on your business. That's one of the key things that I really wanted to get you into the habit of doing. So if you don't do it or you miss it for a day, I get an email, which means I can personally then be reactive to that. I can then say, hey, what's going on? Lydia, I noticed that on Facebook you were saying you were doing this. Is everything okay? Do you need any help? Or is it just that you're just having this major family time? Right? It means that I can, I'm looking at what you're all doing on Facebook. I can see it from wherever I am. I'm noticing stuff that's going on in the Facebook Brand Accelerator group. I'm watching constantly, so I can see what's happening. And it means that You know, if I was sat there behind my computer constantly sending you emails, there's no way I'd have time to be in the group. There's no way I'd have time to really show up and be present for you, or to be doing these events like we are. You know, like tomorrow, we're in LA for 3 days to find joint venture partnerships for us and for all of our brand accelerators. So for everybody that's part of the brand accelerator community, I'm going to be meeting people tomorrow and for the next 3 days who could potentially take your business to a whole new level. And I see that as my job. For you to be a champion of first-time success, I need to be looking at the things that are happening out there in the world and bring them back to you, so you don't have to spend, you know, £10,000 like we are on being away for a month, not to mention all the costs of the courses and the things that we've invested in to be there. And there might only be 10 minutes of the entire event that's really worth listening to. There might only be, you know, 5 people in that entire room that are really worth connecting with. But we'll find them. We'll find what they are and then bring them back to the Brand Accelerator community. So, you know, you just need to find out what are the heartbeats that you really should be concentrating on. And this whole calendar thing, I actually kicked up a little bit of a stink about it, because, you know, I thought, wow, you know, at the kind of level that I'm working, I don't expect to be pointed at a calendar. I appreciate that, you know, if you're providing you know, a low-cost service and you've got lots of people that are wanting your time, then you have to put those things in place. But then I would question, is your brand really targeting the right people at the right level? Because if you've got to use one of these calendar-based systems for systemization, then maybe you're not charging enough, or maybe you're not targeting the right level of customer, you know, because you shouldn't be giving your time away really at such a small level. You know, time should be the last thing that you sell. And if you are going to do something that is one to many, then maybe that should be more masterminded and delivered as a mastermind, where you can add massive value to a whole group of people, just like we're doing now, I guess. We've got a little mini mastermind going on. So, yeah, that to me is like, you know, don't try and get married on a first date. Don't try and push me down a funnel. Don't, you know, and a lot of the times, you might have heard me say this before about the marketing funnel. Everybody thinks of this funnel coming down here. But actually the funnel should start there. You know, people pour all these customers into the top and then expect, you know, a few of them to fall out at the bottom. Why does it have to be like that? I don't see why it has to be like that. You know, there are different ways that you can serve people, and you don't need to make them feel like it's a robotic experience. You can make every single person feel like you've just thrown a great big mwah right at them. So, yeah, I think that's really the way forward now in terms of, you know, branding and how you build your brand, is to build heartbeats rather than touch points. Build trust equity instead of financial equity, and all the money will come, right? You know, but you don't want to be giving everything away for free. That's what I'm certainly not saying. That what I'm saying is value your time and respect yourself, respect what you are worth, how you are delivering what you do, so that when you do provide it, you can provide the absolute maximum value that you can. So I'm going to end there. What have we done? We've done 40 minutes now. So there you go. I'm now going to go off and enjoy my day off on the holiday. So Greg and I are going to jump in the car and go and cruise along the coast. We're hoping to hit, is it Dana Point or Dana Point? At some time today. We'll probably stay there before we end up in LA for the event for the next 3 days. So if you've got any questions, please do you know, put them in the group, because I'll answer them personally in next week's brand breakthrough. So until then, take care. Be the brand you want to see in the world, and make what you're doing memorable and engaging. And I will see you very soon. Lots of love to you. Mwah.